I get it, you're standing on the dock, watching the sunrise, and the thought of splurging on a new fish finder pops up. You've probably heard the hype about Raymarine's Axiom Plus line, but you also know that a $2,000 screen that looks slick in a showroom can turn into a pricey paperweight if it doesn't mesh with the way you actually boat. That hesitation is real, especially when you've got a limited budget and a whole shelf of gadgets already fighting for space on your helm. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. So let's break down exactly what this 9-inch Axiom Plus does when you hook it up to a boat, where it shines, and where it might leave you wishing you'd stuck with your older unit. First off, the Axiom Plus isn't just a display. Raymarine built it around a quad-core processor that feels more like a tiny computer than a traditional Sonar screen. In practice, that means you can switch between the chart view, a live 3D Sonar render, and your personal media without a noticeable lag. I tried toggling between a detailed NOAA chart of the Chesapeake Bay and a side-looking RealVision 3D scan while pulling a line of bass on a summer afternoon. The transition was seamless, the screen refreshed instantly, so I never missed a byte because the unit was thinking. For anyone who spends a lot of time chasing schools in changing depths, that responsiveness is a genuine time saver. The built-in RealVision 3D Sonar is the headline feature. It combines down-looking, side-looking, and high-frequency chirp modes into a single, unified image. In the field, that translates to a volumetric view of the water column that lets you see fish not just directly beneath the boat but also off to the side, even when you're moving at 56 knots. I used it on a lake with a steep drop-off, and the side-scan portion highlighted a wall of baitfish that the traditional 2D sonar completely missed. When you're trying to locate a school before the sun fully rises, having that side perspective can be the difference between a day of empty casts and a productive session. Another practical plus is the IPS display. The 9-inch panel stays bright and clear under direct sunlight, and the viewing angles stay consistent even when you're standing off to the side. I noticed this on a crowded charter where 3 people were constantly peering over each other's shoulders. Because the contrast holds up, you can read depth contours and waypoints without squinting, which reduces fatigue on longer trips. The glass is nano-coated and impact-resistant, so water droplets, oil from hands, and even a stray fishing line won't leave permanent smudges. After a day of tossing lines, a quick swipe with a wet cloth restored the screen to pristine condition, no need for special cleaners. The included LightHouse Charts give you a solid base for coastal and inland navigation across the United States and Canada. That coverage is handy if you like to explore new bays without buying separate chart packs. For a weekend cruiser who's still learning the local waters, those charts eliminate the extra step of downloading and installing third-party files. The charts load quickly thanks to the increased onboard storage, and you can still dump personal waypoints, photos, or trip logs onto the device without worrying about space. Now, let's talk about the hidden trade-offs. The Axiom Plus ships without a transducer. Raymarine assumes you already have a compatible unit or are willing to buy one separately, which adds a non-trivial cost. If you're a first-time buyer, you'll need to match the frequency and mounting style to your boat, and that can be a confusing process. I spent about an hour on the phone with a dealer to confirm the correct side mount model for my 19-foot skiff, and that's on top of the display's price tag. For someone who just wants a plug-and-play solution, that extra step could be a deal-breaker. Power consumption is another practical consideration. The quad-core processor and bright IPS screen draw more juice than a basic monochrome fish finder. On a small outboard with a 12-amp alternator, you'll notice the battery draining faster if you leave the unit on idle for hours. The workaround is to set the auto-sleep timer to a shorter interval and to make sure your charging system is sized for the extra load. If you're operating a larger vessel with a robust electrical system, this isn't an issue. On a modest runabout, it's something to keep in mind. Who should buy this? If you're a serious angler who regularly hunts in varying depths, needs side-scan capability, and value a fast, fluid interface, the Axiom Plus 9-inch is a strong fit. It also works well for coastal cruisers who appreciate up-to-date charts and want a single hub for navigation, sonar, and even basic media playback. The unit's durability and anti-smudge glass make it suitable for harsh, wet environments where you can't afford to keep wiping the screen. Who should skip it? If your boat is a small inflatable, a kayak, or you only fish on a single lake where a basic 2D sonar does the job, the extra processing power and the